Now, I want to bring on our first guest, Tamara Brummer. Welcome to Win TV.
Hello. Thank you so much for having me.
What a delight to be with you today. First of all, happy Mother's Day. This is our Mother's Day show, and you're a godmother. First,
I am.
I want to know, how are you going to celebrate with your mom this weekend?
Oh, that's a great question. My mother is actually based where I'm from in Indianapolis, Indiana. So I won't be able to see her this weekend, but I'm going to send her some goodies and trinkets and all that good stuff. And then go out to see her for her 80th birthday next month.
Oh, well, happy birthday,
Yeah.
Mama. Hey, that
A
is a
blessing.
wonderful thing. Indeed, indeed, indeed. So thank you for being with us. We want to hop in and hear a little bit about you. Tell us about yourself and your organization, Demand Justice. What is the work that you do?
Absolutely. So, Demand Justice was founded in 2018 in response to the kind of lack of urgency on the left and in the Democratic Party to the control of the Supreme Court and the federal courts by the GOP and the Republicans and the right and the corporate elite. We felt, and we still believe, that the courts are this like the last linchpin into really securing and protecting our democracy. But for so long, Democrats have treated it as an afterthought. While Republicans have very clearly stated that the capturing the courts is their number one priority. Mitch McConnell has already told us that, like, if President Biden were to be reelected, but we don't have the House and the Senate, that he will not put any more of his nominees on the bench. So, like, we are really fighting to make sure that the Supreme Court and the lower courts are more equitable, are more like representative of the American people. So we believe in certain things like expanding the Supreme Court to 4 seats. We believe in term limits for
Forgive me,
justices.
expand the Supreme Court to how many seats?
4 seats.
Okay.
Yes,
Expand it by four, so
by four.
that would give us 13 justices.
Correct.
Okay. I'm not great at math, but I wanted you to
Me
check
neither.
me.
It's okay. But because we really need a balance. Our argument is, and I think a lot of people can agree with this, is that Republicans have already stolen seats from the American people. They denied President Obama his appointment in the last few months of his presidency. Then they captured 2 seats during Donald Trump. And then in the final weeks of the election of 2020, they rammed through Amy Coney Barrett, kind of breaking their own precedent. So
Mhm.
this is an immediate response to what we need to see for our Supreme Court to be more representative of the needs and the demands of the American people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Now, there are some people who have argued that the predicament we're in today is in part because the deceased Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg let President Obama know that she was going to live forever and did not need to step down and did not need to have the opportunity to allow a then Democratic president, now Democratic president, to make an appointment to, well, at least the nomination rather, to the Supreme Court. That, of course, we saw what a nomination process looks like under these obstructionists. I would love to know what, if any, thoughts around I hate to use the word culpability, but that's the one coming to my mind of Justice Ruth Bader Ginsburg idea. Is this what we got for allowing such a brilliant justice to stay that long?
I think that's a question that we get a lot, and I think that because Justice Ginsburg was kind of this monumental figure, I think the real culprit though is the Republican Party and the GOP. Like, they have had a steady march to controlling the federal judiciary. They have put in more, they have won less of the popular vote, but been able to put in more Supreme Court justices. That has nothing to do with Justice Ginsburg. This has everything to do with the strategy set in place decades ago. It also has a lot to do with organizations like the Federalist Society, which works behind the scenes and very vocally, though, and really indoctrinating and recruiting justices and lawyers across the spectrum to then implement these ridiculous decisions like the one that was leaked this past week. So I think it's very easy to say, well, if she would have retired, then we would have had one more seat. That's one more seat, though, in a 6-3 conservative court, right? Like, it doesn't matter if we can't do tit for tat. It's really about how do we change the full balance, the full kind of configuration of the courts and how we think about our federal courts.
recognizing that we are at this point, even as soon to be Supreme Court Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson, uh, will take to the bench after the resignation of Justice Breyer. The division of the court remains the same. The makeup remains the same. The issues that are before us, Roe, Brown versus Board, Loving, Oberfeld. I won't go into all the cases, but we know there are a great number of them that affect people's day-to-day lives, their families, and the way they move around this country. Um, are we without any recourse as citizens right now? Um, these midterms are giving us pause about what our legislature might be able to do to be that check, to be that balance. What?
No, you're absolutely right. So much is at stake, and we talk a lot about Loving, Brown versus Board, but like right now, we
Mhm.
are still waiting for the court to give us their final decision on the Roe v. Wade and abortion access. We're waiting for them to give us decision on our ability to protect our communities from gun violence. Right? We're waiting for them to tell us about the authority of the federal government to really protect the environment. Next term, they're going to be hearing cases on affirmative action, the on Native American sovereignty. So even in the future, like we talk a lot about the past, but the future looks very dark in this current configuration of the court. So the real recourse that we believe is it feels simple. Like so many things that we've heard in this past few years has been about we want to pass comprehensive changes. We have the House, the Senate, and the White House. We need to get rid of the filibuster. Get rid of the filibuster, and then we also want to expand the court, and here's why. Because we've seen how systematically the federal courts have dismantled the policies that we think are most important for our communities. Look at COVID. Whatever people's views are on COVID, we have decided, like the scientists have told us, you should wear a mask. But a judge that was put in place by Donald Trump, who had one of the lowest ratings from her colleagues, has decided that that's no longer the rule of law. So we work really hard. We vote every year and we try to pass really good legislation, but the recourse is that we need to remove the barriers that prevent the longevity of these really important legislations and policies.
There's a lot we have to consider, and there's a lot we have to do. You at Demand Justice are are certainly taking on helping people to better understand, these issues and how they affect us. And just the last couple moments we have, I want to give you the floor. A lot of Americans right now are scared. A lot of Black Americans right now are just feeling that our lives, our citizenship, our place in this country is imperiled, and there's some precedent that it just might be. Is there anything we need to be thinking about or doing that will help us get to the next day?
Oh, yes, I too feel that way. I think about the Supreme Court as this body that is so far away but has so much impact on our everyday lives. All the things you laid out, the Supreme Court at one point or another decided in our humanity and legality in this country. We have a real opportunity to change the configuration of the least democratic body in our federal government. But oftentimes people will tell us that the Supreme Court is not a political body, that there's nothing that we can do. That's not true. The forefathers, in some hindsight, decided that we, the people, get to decide how many people are on the Supreme Court. So we don't need a constitutional amendment to add seats. It would not be the first time we've added seats to the Supreme Court. In fact, during the Civil War, President Lincoln added seats to the Supreme Court because he could not have Southern sympathizers deciding on the legislation he needed to pass to hold our union together. So we are at a moment where we can really take the future of our democracy in our hands. Everything we've talked about from voting rights, the Supreme Court stripped the last teeth of the Voting Rights Act. We're talking about working and living wages for folks. This Supreme Court has made it harder and harder for working people to stand up for themselves at the workplace. They've made it harder and harder for us to protect ourselves through a global pandemic. We can change that, and we can fight to change that. And at Demand Justice, we would love for you to join us in the fight to push our members of Congress to take a bold step in making our country more democratic by having a federal Supreme Court that represents the needs and the desires of the American people.
Indeed, indeed. So the website is demandjustice.org, and you can follow this uh, wonderful American citizen rights group that is fighting for all of us on Twitter, on Facebook. Definitely make sure to give them a follow. And yeah, I need to check out your YouTube channel
Come on
as
through.
well. Indeed, indeed.
Sign
I
up
want
and
to
join us.
thank you so much, Ms. Brummer. It has been a delight to chat today. Thank
Thanks
you
for
for joining
having me.
us.